Well, of course, the North American economy is very complex and there are many components to it. So each of those components and sectors are facing unique sets of challenges. Many, of course, have been very badly affected by COVID. The hospitality, the food, the entertainment industries, which are all significant in the States, travel, have all been very, very challenged over the past year. And it's unclear how much damage there is and how quickly they'll recover, but that's certainly one of the issues that companies are addressing. More generally, I think some of the challenges include competition at higher ends of the value chain around the world. The US is one of the leaders in the globalization of the economy over the last 50 years. And I think the assumption was that the US would be able, by improving its educational system and investing in research and innovation, to maintain the premier spot in the value chain as the source of innovation and concept and high value additions to the economy. And that therefore the loss of lower and mid-scale jobs by offshoring and transitioning manufacturing out of the economy would be compensated by increased skills and increased value captured by that singular competitive position. We've seen it, though, that we've created competition at all levels of the value chain. And in particular, I think everyone is concerned about China emerging as a major competitor in high technology sectors that the US felt it dominated in the past. So that kind of competition at the higher end of the value chains, I think, is on people's minds. I think there's third, an intensification of churning in the economy. The speed with which companies can be created, gain scale, and compete with established firms and businesses is intensifying. And that creates a new set of challenges that many established businesses have not had to deal with. Fourth, I think there are continuing intense pressures coming from the financial markets, Wall Street, and the pressure on management to improve the revenues and the profitability and the payouts to shareholders often leads to short-term strategic thinking and investment in order to get those performances, and that's counterproductive in the long run. And then finally, I think there's a set of challenges because of the rise of multinationals. We've always had multinational companies, but the scale and the number of them has escalated. A company like Facebook is larger than any country in the world, with almost a third of the population as participants in Facebook. It's a kind of nation without a nation. And it has huge impact on policy. It has huge impact on the competitive landscape. And it has huge impact on companies that are based in their local communities or clearly based within their nations. Those companies are more invested in their local communities and the welfare of those communities, whereas the multinationals have commitments that span the globe and don't have the responsibilities that some of the other companies have. So dealing with the recovery from COVID, the value chain competition, the intensification of churning in the emergence of companies, pressures from financial markets, and then multinationals, let's say, are 5 of the challenges being faced.
And respect to these 5 challenges you just mentioned, how are companies reacting? How are they facing these challenges?
Well, again, in different ways. There's no single sort of response or overarching strategy. With COVID. There is those industries, many of the industries that were so badly impacted by COVID are looking to the third quarter of this year for some major rebounding. Projections are that the travel and entertainment industry, for example, are going to have a huge surge in business opportunity. The financial sector seems to have actually done quite well. Savings are up. Debt has been reduced during this period of time. And so they're going to be well positioned to come out with a lot of new services. The way that we deal with China is obviously something that both the European Union and the US are grappling with. There are policy issues, there are corporate competitive issues, and all of those are very much in flux, I'd say. The financial markets issue continues to be an issue of contention with companies in Wall Street and policy in Washington. And as we all know, there are emerging pushbacks from governments and companies against multinationals. These are all in process. There's no real clear strategy, except it's clear that there are concerns and that there are efforts being made to curb or to manage some of the competitive challenges coming from these areas.